Hello, everybody. Good morning. It is the 6th of May, 2021. It's about 8:30 in the morning. We've got a little under an hour before the traditional markets open up. And as per usual, I'd love to take a look at the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Bitcoin. And the reason why I do these is because there's a lot of underlying assets like stocks, that follow these indexes, right? So they all kind of flow together. So I feel like it's very important to have a good understanding of the directional bias of the market, which is why I take a look at the S&P 500, which is why I take a look at NASDAQ, including futures data, and which is also why I take a look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin still controls the crypto atmosphere. Even though everything is going parabolic, everything is going nuts, Bitcoin is what controls it. Bitcoin can stop it at any point in time. So I like to have a good understanding, every day in the morning. I'd like to take a look at these things just to see that we're still kind of going in that same direction. So that's the reason why I do this, and that's the reason why I'm including you in here as well, so that you can learn to take a look at these indexes, these assets that I'll take a look at from time to time, and understand how my mind works, so that you can make a better educated decision on some of your trades that you may be taking. Before I get into any of this, of course, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You are responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and this is always just my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and move into the charts. All right, so I've got the S&P here. So this is the ES, the E-mini futures, based on CME data, and so far so good. And so I alerted on the server. We had a couple different trade setups that we were taking up here. I'm going to talk about those here in just a little bit. But for right now, from down here on this bottom, I've counted 1, 2. You see, we've got kind of this leading diagonal here that we've gotten here into the 1, ABC down here into the 2. So we've got a nice 1, 2. Our target is right up here between the 161.8 and the 175. More than likely, we're going to hit the 175, which, if you've taken a look at my Algo City video, you can take a look at that. It's titled Algo City. You can search for it on our channel, and you'll find it there, Algo City. The S&P tends to hit that 175 pretty often. So really, we're looking at somewhere between 4,300 and 4,325, somewhere in that range. We're going to hit it. We're going to hit it. But for right now, my bias is actually down a little bit. So I'm looking to increase my risk exposure once we hit about 40.66. So that's where I'm looking. So obviously we had a good bounce here off of that 236, but in my opinion, the correction didn't last long enough. Like we do have an ABC here. You can see we've got an ABC, but I believe that's just wave A. Then I think we went into wave B. I think generally speaking, wave B is done. We could head back up to 4180, 4190. That would be okay. But ultimately, my directional bias is going to be down for probably the next, week or two. But then, what I think is going to happen when we come down here and we hit that 382, and it could be that it happens very, very fast. So one thing that we may see here, and I don't say it's going to be today, but it could be tomorrow, we could see something like this, where we see another V, okay? We could see something like that. And if and when we do see that, that's going to be our sign that we're going to be heading towards our target, which is going to be 4,300. And again, somewhere between 4,300 and 4,325. That's where I think that the S&P is heading. And from there, I do think that we do see a more significant pullback. But really, our level of invalidation is going to be here at 39.78. So it could be that the S&P only goes back to maybe 40.50, 40.60. It may not go down below 4,000 just quite yet. We're just going to have to wait and see. This 5 up here, this is going to be what determines a lot. We're going to have to see what happens up here. But ultimately, I do think we come back down. I'm going to be looking to get long here at about 40.60, 40.70, somewhere in that range, and then ride that up to that 4,300 level. And then from there, and again, it could be that we stop at 42.60. I've got all of these levels here. These 4 are the most important levels that I'm paying attention to right now, and you should as well. So we've got that 175, we've got the 1618, and this is based off of, here, let me just highlight this. Okay, the 161 and the 178 is based off of this 1, 2 that I've got right here. Okay, and that 2618 is based off of this 1, 2. Again, I think we've already hit that 3, and then we're going in for that 5. Sorry, we're going for the 4. We've hit the 3, we're finishing the 4, then we go up for the 5. And that's at 4260. So 4260, 4283, 4325, and then ultimately this negative 236 here, which is at 4300. All of these levels are really in high confluence with each other from a longer term perspective. I think we will create a little bit of a top in that area. Again, we have to be patient. We're going to have to wait. But just a couple things I want to make note of, and that is the indicator. So, you know, we talk about this, and if you need access to the indicator, there's a link in the video description. You get access to our Discord, and you can learn how to get access to the indicator. But historically speaking, when the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour are all in oversold at the exact same time as they were down here, that has really been a good indicator that that's where you need to be buying, right? That's where you need to be buying. Okay. One thing I'll say is right now it looks like we're about right here compared to where the price action currently is. And let me just kind of explain this here for a moment. I'm going to zoom in just so that we can see this. All right, so we're going to take a look at this correction. I'm going to compare it to what the correction looks like right now. We had a buy signal down here, but the 12 hour was still heading down. Okay, so we had the buy and it moved up. Hey, good boy, I'll take a look at Cardano. It's doing pretty crazy things. But anyway, we had a buy down here and then it moved up and then we had another pullback. But then we had the 12 hour, the 1 hour, and the 3 hour all in oversold at the exact same time. And that was the place to be buying. And you can see what happened after that. The price just continued to go up, okay? And we do this in bull markets. Now, one thing that I can say right now, again, we had the 1 hour and the 3 hour that were both in a buy zone, and that was a good place to be buying. But the difference is this 12 hour is heading down. It reminds me a lot of the first time the indicator said to buy back then. So in my opinion, the better time to be buying is when we make another low, and maybe it does come all the way down here to 4066. Maybe it doesn't get that far. It could be that it doesn't get that far, but I'll tell you one thing. The next time I get that buy signal on here, and the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour are all in oversold at the same time, I'm going to be buying. I'm going to be buying. If it doesn't make it to that 382, but it says to buy, I'm going to be buying. It's all based on the indicator. This is what I use for all of my trading. I use this indicator in just about everything. So at any rate, it looks good. So right now, again, it looks like we could make another push up, but you know, for me, my level of invalidation is going to be right here at about 41.85. If we push up above 41.85, I'm just going to kind of reevaluate. But for right now, this looks like we've got a nice A, B, C, A, B. Maybe we do make a little bit higher. We'll have to wait and see. C, and then we're going to do that ABC. And I tend to believe that we've already completed like a little ABC, and then we're working on maybe 5 waves down. So we've got maybe a 335 that's going on here. We're going to have to wait and see. But it looks like we want to go a little bit lower before we go up to that target of 4,300. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ. So this, an older chart. I have not looked at NASDAQ actually on this chart in a while. I'm on an hourly here, and I've got a lot of stuff that I'll need to clean up. I've got a lot of lines, a lot of things. Let me go to a 4 hour and just to see what we've got going on here. Okay, so I've got a pitchfork. I'm going to remove this just to clean it up just a little bit. Okay, so again, very similar to the S&P. We've got a nice 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1. Right, so this is a 1, A, B, C, a good pullback into the 2. So again, let's just see here. Again, this fib that we've got, this trend-based fib extension tool, we've got a 1, 2. You see, my problem is this is not a wave 3. This can't be a wave 3. So what we would have to really look at is this being a 1, 2, 3, A, B, C here into the 4. I really don't want us to cross that 13,291. I tend to believe that NASDAQ, it has to be a little more bullish than the S&P. So from an index standpoint, I still think that NASDAQ is going to find its way up here at about 14, we'll call it 14,500. That's going to be your wave 3 target. And we've got to get moving quick. Okay? We really have to get moving quick because, again, take your fib extent, or sorry, your fib retracement, dominant pivot low, dominant pivot high, and we're right here at that 382 right now. We can come down here to the 50, but that is weak. That is very, very weak. And let me look at an hourly here just to see what the indicators look like. You look at this 12-hour. It is way oversold. Way oversold. So, you know, really, honestly, I would say going long on NASDAQ, if we happen to get down here to 13,300, I would take that. I would take a trade on NASDAQ, on NQ, if you're doing like maybe micro NQ or just the mini NQ. You could do that, and you could have a nice tight stop loss there. You know, give yourself, you know, a little bit, but the upside potential, if you are willing to hold it for a while, it could really, really pay off in a significant way. If you are familiar with trading futures, you know that the reward is great, but the risk is as well. So you need to manage yourself properly. But again, I think that wave 3 could be coming in, and that would be, you know, 8.39%. That would be 13 to 14. That'd be 1,100 points to the upside. That's huge. That is significant. So I would have to be, and I have said this before, I have to be a little more bullish on NASDAQ than I am on the S&P. I think it's a lagging index that has more significant upside. So I'll leave it at that. Let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, gosh, you know, I'm going to say something here. It seems like every time this indicator says to buy, when the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour are all in oversold at the exact same time, it's just like prime time for buying. So we had right here 1 hour, 3 hour, 12 hour, and it was literally at like almost at the very bottom here. Yeah, we made another low, but we also created bullish divergence on that. And this looks really, really good. This looks good for more continued upside. Like I was talking about, you know, if you were taking a long, I think we were talking about taking longs here at this 382. And I said you should probably get out at 58 or so. We hit that negative 236. We hit that perfectly. Right? Let me just move this over. This was a perfect move. Look at that. So we went down to the 382. We hit that negative 236. That was a great move. And I believe this is a 1, 2, 1, 2. That's very bullish. That's very bullish. I'm going to remove this now because this is here and gone. Our upside target for Bitcoin, and again, this hasn't changed. This is still up here. It's going to be about 70,000. Bitcoin's going to go up there. I mean, it can happen at any moment. Bitcoin's going to go up to 70,000. Levels of invalidation. Obviously, we would be looking at this pivot here at about 52,359. And then our big level of invalidation is going to be down here at 47,000. If we break 47,000, then be ready for a more significant pullback down into the low 40s, maybe even upper 30s. But for now, there's really no reason to believe that we're going to go back down there. At least I don't see those signs at this moment. What I see a little 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we're going up. And again, we're going to be targeting that wave 3. Let me move this guy over here. Wave 3, we're going to be targeting that, again, right at about 70,000. We're going to create a little bit of a newer high. What's going to end up happening here, you're going to have people saying, okay, well, we have a high here, a higher high, and then a higher high. And now we've got triple bearish divergence, and we're going to be moving down to zero. Crypto is dead. You're gonna see that. And just watching this, put a trend line on it. When is it that wave 3 is going to hit? Well, I don't think it's going to extend out past May. I think it's going to happen this month. And it's probably going to happen. We're going to see a little poke up above, and then we're going to pull back into it, right? So this trend line, we're going to poke above it. We're probably going to pull back inside of it. People are going to say, that was a bull trap. That was a bull trap. It happens regularly, right? People are going to say, this is a bull trap. We're going to come back down in, though, right? It's going to make it look like a bull trap, but then eventually we're going to start coiling here. We're going to coil at the highs, the previous highs. We're going to have some support here. We're going to have some clustering right here. This is going to be our wave 4 before we make our move up to about 82,000. Now, keep in mind, that's not the ultimate top that I'm looking at. I'm looking at potentially 90 to 95, and then final move up here to about $130,000. Bitcoin's not going to $1 million. So that's what I've got on Bitcoin. Now, I had a request to take a look at Cardano. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's take a look at Cardano. Cardano versus Tether. And then I also want to take a look at Cardano versus Bitcoin. And we talk about the trifecta. You've got your altcoin, you've got your Bitcoin, and then you've got US dollar. And they are all related to each other in one way, shape, or form. They're all controlled by Bitcoin. And that's through that underlying asset. Okay. So on here, let's see here. So we've got our wave 3 that we've projected, a nice long wave 4. That wave 4 does look like it is completed. So in my opinion, what we've just finished is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I think that, and it could be that that wave 5 isn't quite done. We might make a little bit higher here, but let's just measure it. Let's just measure it. This is not something that I would be buying right now, just for the record. If you're not in it, I would not buy it unless it happened to come all the way back down to $1, which I don't see happening anytime soon. So again, we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leading diagonal into the 1. Let's go down for the 2. Okay. We've got our 1618 and 2618, which we have to pay attention to, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I mean, Cardano's probably going to go to $2 at this point. It's at $1.60 right now. It's probably going to go to that $2 mark because, again, from here, 1, 2, we're working on that 3 because it has to extend beyond that 1618. We're going to coil here for the 4, and then we're going to go up for that 5. It could be that happens very quickly. It could be that it takes a little bit of time. But I would say to kind of wait a little bit, wait for this guy to pull back a little bit. You know, if you're going to be buying this, make sure that these shorter term indicators have pulled back a little bit. Yeah, sure, they can stay in that bullish control zone for a long extended period of time, but just be careful buying something that's, I mean, really Cardano's at all-time high at this point, right? So you just have to be very careful. It's poking up and through. We're creating that quote-unquote bull trap that we were just discussing on Bitcoin. So let it coil a little bit. And once it starts coiling, and a good example is Doge. Doge did a coil at 5 cents. And it was actually pretty impressive the way that it coiled down there. Let me find it here. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So we had the first push up, okay? We had the first push up, and then here's the coil that I'm talking about. Look at what it did here at 5 cents. This was heavy accumulation that was going on here. Heavy accumulation. And then, I mean, we know the history, but it's very possible Cardano, you know, making newer highs is going to start coiling a little bit, and it could be that it takes a long time. This did it for the entire month of March and some of April. Now, I don't think that Cardano is going to do it for that long, but watch for a little bit of coiling, trying to make new lows, but not able to do it. And when that happens, then you can take that move up to $2. But I would give it a little bit of time before you invested in it. But yeah, I do think that, again, I think Cardano is going to make its way up to that $2 mark. I think it's going to make it up there. But in my opinion, I don't think that's the top for Cardano. I think you're going to be very surprised. You know, a couple things that surprised me is like Ethereum Classic. You know, we were talking about buying that at $6 like a year and a half ago, and look at where it's at now. So you'd be very surprised on what these altcoins are capable of doing. I said that I would take a look at Cardano versus Bitcoin, and I want to do that. Cardano versus Bitcoin, what is it doing? Obviously, it's spiking up, yes. Let me go to a daily on Cardano versus Bitcoin. So we talked about this on another video, that Cardano is probably going to make its way to 4,000. We're at 2,800 now. When we did this video, it was close to 2,000. Okay? So, you know, we talked about support, resistance, and then we pushed through that resistance after testing it, right? We tested the resistance, pushed through, now it's support, okay? So we shouldn't go anywhere below 2,000 anytime soon. We should be continuing a rise up to that 4,000 level. If we push through 4,000, it's going to go to 5,500. If we push through 5,500, it's going to go to 7,300. These are going to be ridiculous prices on Cardano, okay? Because again, we did this exercise. If Bitcoin does make its way to 70,000, okay? If Bitcoin makes its way to 70,000, and Cardano just happens for some reason to make its way up to 55, 56. So Bitcoin at 70,000 times Cardano at 0.00003956. That's going to be 276 at this level right here. That's if Bitcoin's at 70,000, right? The other one, at that next level, if it happens to break through, that's going to put Cardano at 388. Okay, so we already have some confluence on Cardano being at the $2 to $3 level. If it does happen to make it through there, and it would not surprise me one bit if we make our way up here to this 5,500 Satoshi level, you know, we're talking $4 Cardano at a 70,000 Bitcoin. So I'm not trying to be too overly optimistic here. I'm just reading what the charts are saying, and I have to continue to be a bull for now. Right now, Cardano versus Bitcoin looks fantastic. Is Cardano versus Bitcoin going to make new highs? That, my friends, is the big $1 million question. So looking at Cardano, you know, bottoming out down here at like 4,000, I think Bittrex probably has more history. Let me just take a look here. Not really. It doesn't really have much history. Back in 2017 anyway. So yeah, ultimately this still looks fine. This still looks fine to make ourselves up there, make our way up here to that 4,000 level. You know, I would just be very careful, because what we did on the Bittrex chart, because I've taken a look at this before as well, all the way up here at the top right there at almost 10,000 Satoshis, and all the way down here at the very bottom, which is about 398. You know, we've got this 236, we've got the 382, which we had some resistance at, but ultimately right here at the 50, you know, we've got that support, we've got resistance here. It wouldn't surprise me for us to make ourselves, you know, come up to that level, and probably go a little bit higher up to that 5,500, right? That's going to be right here at the golden zone on a retracement. So naturally you're going to get a reaction there. It's going to happen. You're going to get a reaction up there. And it is more than likely going to be a negative reaction. So we're going to have to just keep our eyes out if and when we get there. More than likely when, and not the if. It's just going to take some time. It's not going to go straight there. It could be that it happens over the course of a week or two, but we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm bullish. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the video. It is now 9 o'clock in the morning. We've got traditional markets opening here in about 30 minutes, and I've got some work to do on